Hello everyone, how are you? So today is Sunday, April 9th, I think. Welcome to my Q&A live. It is such a beautiful day. How are you all doing? So before we jump into the questions, I hope that everybody can hear me okay. And I hope if you have any questions, just put them in the little chat thing and then I'll try to answer them as we go along. And so I do have some pre-questions in here, but before we start, I just wanted to go and get into my I'm sorry. I just wanted to start. I was reading some comments at the bottom here. I just wanted to start and do a little bit of housekeeping before we dive into the questions. So like I said, I do have some pre-questions that I had kind of gathered from either being in groups or just questions that was asked to me, or things that have just come up over a course of time. And I thought that this would be a good way to answer some of the questions that you may have that are usually common questions. So yeah. So first I wanted to start off by giving a little backstory of me. And I did do some notes just to make sure I'm on point with everything. So yeah, my backstory that I wanted to, just give you guys an update of who I am, how long I've been in the business. And in case you don't know, let me just give you a little brief backstory. So my name is Terrell. I am the CEO and founder to Cater to the Bride, which I founded in 2010, I want to say. And I planned my own wedding back in 2006. Yes, it was over a decade ago. And I also formulated my business because, well, let me just backtrack. I planned my wedding within 3 months, and it was a success, and it was really well. And then I started helping out all of my friends. And I did that for a course of maybe 2 to 3 years. I was just helping all my friends plan for free. And then I started to formulate a business, which I did. And I'm also a member of the American Association of Bridal Consultants, which is that we work at a higher standard to make sure that we are professional and just give great customer service. And so that's pretty much how I got started. I also, I also am a member, well, not a member, but I'm affiliated with Sandals, so I can, book destination weddings and all of that good stuff, which we'll get into, if not now, then a little later. But, yeah, so that's my little just a brief backstory. As time moves on, I'll give you guys more. Yeah, so that's a little backstory. So I wanted to jump into the questions. I'm going to try not to make this too lengthy because it's such a beautiful day. Are you guys? Let me just tell you where I am. I'm in New Jersey, and today it feels like it is 72, 73. We've been having like 60 degree, 50, 40. It's been freezing. So this is like lovely. So obviously I can't wait to, get into the sun, but that's here nor there. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to dive into the questions. I'm going to try not to make them too lengthy or too long, but just so that it's beneficial. So like I say, I do have my paper here. So if you see me looking down, it's because I want to stay on key. So the first question that I see a lot over the last week or two has been, where do I begin? And that is such a general question. That's why I did do a video, and it's on YouTube. If you haven't watched it, make sure you watch it. And that video is pretty much on planning with the budget and also getting your vision. So it's the vision, the budget, and just bringing it all together with the execution. And I think that's a good place to begin, especially with your vision. If you have a clear idea of what it is that you're that you want, then you can pretty much work your budget around anything. It's just a matter of what you want and how you, where you want to have it, how you visualize it, and how to bring it to your level. So where do you begin? You begin by setting a date. That's the first thing that you should do if you haven't done that yet. The second thing is break down your budget, see how much money you have, and decide, you know, how you going to pay for this wedding. You know, there's plenty of ways to skin a cat, as they say. So there's plenty of ways that you can pay for your wedding. It's just using your resources and knowing how to tie it all together. So that's the first question. Where do you begin? You begin by setting your date, start getting your stuff organized. And once you have your date, you really should start sending out save the dates to your guests. And my recommendation these days, because we are in a digital age and a lot of people have not caught up to the digital age, which you really should. So what that means is that most people are online. So you can do something as simple as send out an email and say, hey, save the dates. I'm getting married on this date. That will save you some money right there. So those are things that you have to think about that you could do that will personalize it, you know. There's a lot of little tips and tricks that you can do to get around spending a lot of money on the small details, but you still want to be, you know, you don't want to be tacky. So there's ways of doing things so that it looks great. Okay. Number 2. We have 10 questions, by the way. Oh, so I just saw this question. I saw a whole video on YouTube, and it almost broke my heart. You know, this young lady said that she hates planning her wedding right now because she just don't know where to begin. And her question was, what do you do with colors? Like, what is this with colors? She could not wrap her head around the fact that you need to get swatches and you should know what color scheme that you want and how that, you know, all ties together. So my recommendation is, if you have an idea of what colors you want, jot them down, and then start to think about like the colors that really speak to you, that you love. Like if you're looking through a magazine and there's colors that pop out at you, those are the colors that you want to start looking at. But then to take it further, you want to do like a board. I would recommend Pinterest because that's like the best place to visualize things. And when you use Pinterest, you know, you want to do like a board for ideas and then a board for, you know, just like a color scheme palette that you may think that you would like. So you want 2. And Pinterest could be a little overwhelming. So it's kind of good to go in with a plan. So the idea is you go in with a plan with Pinterest. Look through some wedding magazines and look at colors, but ideally you want to kind of like narrow it down to about 3 colors. If you could do 2, that's even better. But you know, 3, like 2 colors and then an accent color. So like if you're going to do white, black, maybe white, black and gold, or white, black and fuchsia or teal, or you know, maybe you just want green and white with a splash of silver, you know. So it really depends on the personality. It also depends on the time of year that you're getting married. And then what you need to do is you need to have your location so you'll know the colors for your napkins and, you know, all of the decor. And then for your invitations, all of those items should all be in the same color family or in a color scheme. And then with your flowers as well. So the swatches come into play when you're going to get your flowers, if you're going to use a florist or if you're going to do it yourself. What you would do is take a swatch, and usually you can get a swatch from, if you're going to have bridesmaids, they will give you a swatch with colors, and then you take that with you, even with your dress as well, because that is going to be, you want to have that color for your flowers so that the texture will it will look great together, because you don't want different textures with different colors. That could throw off your whole wedding. So that's what the whole color scheme is. If we'll go into more over the course of the week, as time go on, we'll go over this more if you have questions on this. But that's where you would begin. yeah. So if you have any questions on this, just send me a message or something. Okay, the third question is how do you handle the guest list? And I saw this question, all these questions are recently, but I saw within like the last week or two, they just kept coming up over and over again. So this question came up with a young lady who said that her parents were paying for her wedding and her guest list is growing, but she cannot afford to pay. I guess her parents were paying for part of the wedding, but she doesn't know the people who are coming who are attending the wedding. And her question is, how do you have the conversation with your parents if they are funding the wedding? And so, I think that's a very sensitive topic when you have people who are investing in your wedding. And my suggestion is you just have to sit down and have a heart-to-heart with them and talk about your budget and talk about usually what I've done in the past, and I know some of my brides have done. What we all do is tend to give your parents a list and a number and say, listen, this is who I'm inviting. You have to sit down with them and say, this is who we have on the list. This is who we can afford to invite. And this is it, and you have to be firm. You don't have to be a bridezilla. You don't have to be nasty, but just be firm and, just go on from there. It's simple, easy peasy. Let's see. Okay. When to hire your vendors. This question came up a couple times. I see this a lot. And what I would suggest is the first vendor that you should hire, which I don't really consider the vendor because this is like your number one thing that you should do, is after you secure your location, then you need to follow the guidelines, your timetable, and that pretty much guides you into your vendors. I think when people are not following the guidelines, they tend to not, they don't know when to hire their vendors. But if you're doing it properly and you're following a timeline, you should fall into place of where you need to. So what I mean is sometimes people don't know, like, when should I hire a caterer or when should I hire a photographer. That it really depends on what kind of wedding you're having. I mean, if you're having it at a country club, then usually after you secure that location, you can start hiring, your band or your DJ and stuff like that. But if you're having it at your house, then my suggestions would be a little bit different. So it really depends. If you're having it at your house, I would suggest that you get wedding insurance first and then start going from there. That would be my first recommendation. Okay, so the next question is, how long does it take to plan your wedding? I can't believe this question keeps coming up, but okay, so traditionally to plan your wedding, you need 1 year. The reason why you need 1 year is because most vendors or most reception halls or catering halls, they need enough time in advance to book. So that most of them are already booked for the next year. However, people cancel, dates change, people have their weddings on different dates, so it's easier to switch out dates. That does not mean you cannot plan your wedding sooner than a year. It's just you have to know how to do it and the things that you need to secure first. So for instance, I planned my wedding, I got married May 19th, and I started planning it in the end of January. And yeah, so I planned my wedding in 3 months. It was a success. And what I will say is that I switched locations. I changed my contract. I got out of a contract and I was able to book a whole new venue, and I was able to do that. So what I would suggest is you definitely have to have certain things in place to plan your wedding sooner. If you don't want to plan for the whole year, I'm not going to say I don't recommend it. I will say that it's an art, and I have established a bunch of techniques. If you are interested in that, we'll talk about that as time go on, but it can be done. But in general, 1 year. Okay, we are on number 5. I'm sorry, number 6. Okay. How to plan a wedding with no money. So yeah, everybody wants to know how can you get married if you don't have any money? Now this question, it comes up indirectly. So people, I find it so interesting because people are like, well, I don't have money to pay a wedding planner or a wedding consultant, but I'm going to do it myself because I don't have the money. So I'm saying to myself, you don't have money to plan a wedding, but you don't have money to plan a wedding coordinator, but you're going to do it yourself. But a wedding planner or coordinator or consultant is the key to giving you discounts. So why would you not hire them? Why would you not configure that into the budget? Yeah. So there is, like I said before, more than one way to skin a cat. And if you don't have money, there are several ways that you can do to raise capital for your wedding. I have some techniques for that as well. One, I will say, I know a lot of people take out loans. Some people use their own money. I will recommend, if you don't have any money, if your budget is very small, you probably should think about a destination wedding because you get more bang for your buck. The other thing is you can always raise money for your wedding. There's something called crowdfunding. I will talk about this later on. If you want more, I will tell you how to do it, how to utilize it. But you definitely have to tap into your genius. There is, everybody has, a strength, and all you need to do is tap into it. And you can raise some capital for your wedding so that you can get everything that you want. So that is how you plan a wedding with no budget. Number 7, how to cut your wedding budget in half. This is my favorite question. I see it a lot, but I see that it's done incorrectly. So if you want to cut your budget in half, the easiest way to do that is to cut some of your vendors in half. And what I mean by that is you want to think about what it is that the areas that cost the most. So you're talking about photography, you're talking about your music and your flowers. A lot of times people try to do it with their flowers, but they don't think about the music and they don't think about the photography. Photography will run you from, I think I just looked at one of my packages from one of the vendors that I work with, and I think the lowest package was $1,900, and that didn't even include a wedding photo album. And on the high end, it can go all the way up to $10,000. You can do this for free, and I have a bunch of free options. We will talk about that later on how to tap into my free stuff. But yeah, we're in a digital age. You can cut your budget in half just with photography by cutting that in half. This with flowers, you can do it as well. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They try to do it themselves, and I would say if you're not if you don't have a creative eye, you need to have someone helping you. But the easiest way to cut your flowers in half is to utilize your local supermarket. And that is what I tell all my brides who want to save money. So if you want to cut that budget in half, utilize that. Okay, so number 8. How to hire a photographer. I actually have a blog post about this on my website, www.catertothebride.net. I will link it below if I have the time today. If not, it'll go up tomorrow, but it probably will go up later today. Yeah, so some of the, when you're starting to hire a photographer, the first thing that you need to do is I would go online and utilize some wedding websites like The Knot, Wedding Wire. I'm on The Knot, by the way, so give me a shout out if you're on there. Read my review. Yeah, so definitely start online and then work your way out. The reason why is because you want to see what professional photographers what their portfolios look like first. So you want to start there and really just start to look at the different packages, what they offer, what the prices are. And I would say you should always do a comparison of 3: high-end, mid, and low, and then start from there. If you want a free option, of course I always have a free option, I would suggest that you do it yourself. Yeah, and it can be done. Like I said, in the end, I will discuss more how you can get some of these free options, but there are some that are available. And some of the questions that you should ask is, you want to start off with, do you have a portfolio? How long have you been in business? Read the reviews, because that's very important. And also word of mouth. Ask any of your friends. Go online. And for me, like I would say, like, it's so many resources out there right now. You can get a photographer dirt cheap and get a good photographer. So you do not have to spend thousands. Please don't think that you have to spend thousands. Excuse me. Please don't think that you have to spend, that's the only way. I mean, obviously, if that's what you want, then you can, but that's not the only way. So if you want more, we will discuss that shortly. Okay, where are we? Number 9. This question just came up. How much should you pay a DJ? So that varies. I guess it varies from state to state. But like I have friends who are DJs, and usually their packages run from $1,500 and up, depending on how many hours that they are going to be, how many hours they're going to be during your wedding and so forth. But usually the DJ is not really that expensive. I mean, they can go up depending on if you want, like, I know one of my close friends, she had a DJ from the radio station, and he was a little pricey, but he was excellent, so it really depends on what you want. But yeah, so I mean, it varies in price, but usually it starts around $1,500, and you can do that yourself as well. We have a free option for that. And yeah, those are my 9 questions. I said 10. My last question is for you. My question here for you is, I want to know, what is it that you are struggling with? And if you don't want to ask it in the group, you can PM me and let me know, like, where you are with your wedding, what you are struggling with. I also will be rolling out a couple of things over the next couple of weeks. I do have I have a course right now that's live, and it will be coming back most likely June 1st. It will be rolled out. It's a 12-week course that is live, and that has a bunch of tips and tricks in there. I also have a 4-week course that is continuously going. So if you are right now thinking about you need free options, or you need, you have more questions, you can definitely pop in there. Or if you want more, just, let me know that you want more. Send me a message, and I will send you the link to get into that course. All my classes, by the way, I have 2. One is a bride's guide and the premiere. A bride's guide is a 4-week course that I offer, and we break down 4 topics, which is usually the budget, photography, invites, and just getting you started. That's a bride's guide 101. And then I have a 12-week, which is a deeper dive. So we go 12 weeks of, each week you will watch a court, you watch a video, you do the court, you do the it's like a little worksheet, and then we have live Q&A. We break down that specific topic, and that is for 12 weeks. With the 12-week course, that like I said, will not be rolled out until June 1st, but that course gives you support up until your wedding date. So you get me as your coordinator up until your wedding date. You can ask me questions before you go to your your appointments, whatever it is. If you need me to look over contracts, whatever it is, you have me exclusively. Like I said, that will be starting June 1st. For the 4-week course, you can enroll in that at any time. And so, yeah, those are my 2 courses that I offer. I will be doing probably a weekly webinar with different topics in this group. So look out for that. And yeah, this is my live questions. Let me know if you like this. What do you feel about me answering your questions? If this was helpful, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, this is it. I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I will see you probably next week. If you have any questions, just link them below. You can always DM me. I'm always around, always online, always have my phone, so feel free, and I will see you soon. Bye.